What's up guys, Blade Master here, going to give you my early review slash first impressions of the Roman Expedition roster in multiplayer. The Roman Expedition is a roster which you can get with the last Roman campaign, which is on a humble bundle for only £1.99, which is incredibly cheap. I unfortunately didn't avail of that sale and paid the full price like a chump. Anyways, let's go ahead and start reviewing the units. The first unit we're going to review is the general. The way we'll work this through is first look at the general, then the spears, then the swords, and finally the cavalry. So, the Bucellari or Bucellarii guard cavalry. They have spears. They have it looks like they only have the regular, not the 30 bonus versus cavalry spears. They have the 20 bonus versus cavalry spears. Very tanky unit, 284 health, 38 armor is pretty low, melee defense is also pretty low, but very nice charge bonus for a melee cavalry. They have the scare trait, which is a very interesting ability. So kind of like the Sparbed, you can use these guys along with some flaming shot and then the fear, the Warcry ability to maybe just insta out a unit. Although still the fact that it doesn't, it only affects one unit, the scare and Warcry, it doesn't really make much sense to bring that over brace. But still an interesting trait to have. They of course have wedge. They have 80 speed, even though they're medium melee cavalry. Some medium melee cavalry have 70, some have 80, and the Huns have 90, I believe. So yeah, pretty decent unit, very tanky, but the lack of armor is kind of a concern. They have, of course, poor missile block chances. Their cavalry. They look like they have the short shields, which makes them incredibly non-resistant to missiles. I believe they probably have a 20 to 25% chance to block missiles. So very easy to destroy these units through archers or javelins or whatever, slingers. Next, we have the Limitani. These guys look very similar. I'll show you guys after I review all of these units very quickly. I'll show you guys that a lot of these units are simply reskinned units of the Eastern Roman Empire and some of the Huns, which is a very shit thing to do. Anyways, Limitani, they have the regular, they don't have the 30 bonus versus cavalry. They have 33 armor, look pretty shit to be honest, and I'm not going to spend too much time on them. They have the defensive testudo, which gives them a plus 400 entity mass. They are medium, which means they'll probably become like very heavy or something like that. They have pretty poor morale, pretty low health, pretty low armor, average missile block chance. Of course, that's the case with all spears, but still, not like I would ever bring these guys. Next, the Scutatoi spears, even worse of a unit because they still don't have the 30 bonus versus spears, 30 bonus versus cavalry spears. 30 charge bonus is okay, whatever. Pretty high armor, still very low health for a unit. I believe these guys cost somewhere around 500. Nice, decent bit of morale, but again, with access to defensive testudo being the only highlight of these guys. Besides that, they're pretty useless. Next, we have the melee infantry. The Foederati is what we're going to start with. They are the only unit in the Roman expedition that's actually worth bringing. Very cheap, 40 melee attack and damage. Everything else is terrible, but they're cheap again. Decent bit of morale for how much they cost, 36 base value. Low health, low armor, 70 missile damage as is the case. They have defensive testudo, as do all the melee infantry units, which is by far the dumbest thing that CA could do. Gives them absolutely no. If they had attacking testudo, it still wouldn't have made a difference because of course CA hasn't fixed attacking testudo. They could have just done the noble thing to do and just given them shield wall, although the history nerds would have been up in flames about that. Anyways, pretty shit unit. Let's move on to the next. Exploratores, they're already there for the Eastern Roman Empire. No changes to that. They're shit. Don't bring them. Of course, they are scouting units, so in that sense they are a bit useful in incredibly specialized situations, but besides that, they're pretty shit. Next, we have Preventores. I believe these units are also there for the Eastern or Western Roman Empire. Again, they have excellent spotting. They are more expensive. They have guerrilla deployment as well. Decent bit of armor. Very decent bit of armor. Low melee attack, low melee defense, blah, blah, blah. They don't even have defensive testudo. They have rapid advance, and they have ally encourage, but they don't have the regular disciplined or encourage trait. Yeah, so pretty shit. Won't bring them either. Next, we have the Scutatoi. Low melee attack, defensive testudo. Low melee attack, defensive testudo. Low melee attack, defensive testudo. Oh my god, that's the same thing for everyone. Decent bit of armor, 53, 132 health is nice. Morale of 45 is pretty decent. Expensive units would not bring. They don't have shield wall, so they're basically useless. Antesignani. Wow, I should learn Italian. These guys are getting more and more Italian by the minute. 35 melee attack, pretty decent. 50 melee defense, 63 armor, and 150 health. This might be another unit that's actually pretty decent, to be honest. I definitely can see myself upgrading these units, but they're very expensive. Not like 700 or something. I think they're somewhere around 500, 550. For that, if you can increase their melee attack by giving them some more, a couple more upgrades, and then increase their morale, 45 to somewhere around 50, they can be incredibly tanky units. Again, the problem is that they don't have shield while they only have defensive testudo. Next, Scutatoy Axemen. Scutatoy Axemen cost 500, I believe, and they have very high melee attack and melee damage, but besides that, they seem to be falling under the Heerban trap of being just incredibly non-tanky. Again, the fact that they have defensive testudo makes them pretty much useless in terms of special abilities. Melee defense is very low, armor is pretty low, health is pretty low. They look like good units to bring against maybe something like a Western Roman Empire or Eastern Roman Empire, which has a lot of heavily armored units, or maybe like Alamans and the Bejeweled Nobles and Protectorious Defectors. Next, we have the Bucellari Guard Axemen. These guys look pretty beastly. They are 150 talents more expensive than the Scutatoy, I believe, and very high armor, decent health, decent bit of melee defense, incredibly high melee attack, and of course with the axes they have the 16 and 16 melee damage, and of course axes have 10 bonus versus infantry now, which makes one-handed axes pretty just about decent for the most part. I haven't tested all of them though. Maybe the Francisca Heerban are actually good now, you guys. Who knows? But they don't have discipline, encourage, or any other trait that you would associate with high-tier Roman infantry. But that said, they look like a pretty decent unit, and I'll definitely be interested in testing them out. Look pretty decent though, first impressions, and they look at these guys, they actually look pretty nice. One of the few units in Attila that's actually colorful and looks nice. Next, we have Sagittari. Not much to explain about them. They have the 38 missile damage bow. They have precision shot for a unit that costs 160, I believe, which is a very nice thing to have. But they have 150 range. Next, we have the Armored Sagittari. These guys have 49 missile damage, which is the same as Germanic archers, who cost around 50% of what these guys cost, which is shit, and they have lower range. But one big thing which is really cool about these guys is the fact that they have precision shot. Wait. Yeah, I'm getting confused between these guys and the Ostrogothic Kingdom Sagittari. So, okay, never mind. These guys kind of suck. They only have precision shot, whereas the Ostrogothic Kingdom ones have barrage as well, which makes that an incredibly interesting ability to have. Besides that, 97 health is pretty straightforward. Let's see if it's they have like 17 more health, decent bit of armor. 27 increase in armor makes them pretty resistant. 15 ammunition is quite nice as well, but they're just a bit too expensive for me. Next, we have Ballistari. No big difference between these guys and the previous and the Eastern Roman, Western Roman Ballistari. We also have the Elite Ballistari. These Ballistari they have barrage, but they don't have precision shot. These guys have precision shot and barrage, and 75 missile damage. So that's the increase between these guys. You're paying a whole lot more. So Elite Ballistari costs 750, but they have 75 missile damage, which is unbelievable. 20, and look at that. How much of it is armor piercing? 55. So they can be incredibly effective, but I just don't see, because they have a very poor rate of fire, and combine that with their very poor missile block chance, they can easily get destroyed by enemy skirmishers. And they're very expensive, very, very expensive, so I don't see myself bringing them. Maybe for shits and giggles sometime, but they can be potentially deadly if your opponent doesn't know how to counter them, except it's very easy to counter them. Next, we have Funditores, good old Funditores. Always a treat bringing these guys. We have the Levis Armaturier, like I explained before. These are very cost-effective skirmishers, and would definitely highly recommend you bringing them. We have Scout Equites, which is the same as Eastern Roman, Western Roman. They have 90 speed now. And they have the campaign stealth and guerrilla deployment ability, but all these abilities don't make up for the fact that they're absolutely dogshit. And they're also sword cavalry, which also makes them even less effective. Next, we have Foederati Cavalry. Foederati Cavalry are a reskin of an Eastern Roman cavalry of the same price. Once I get out of this, I'll show you guys which one I'm talking about. As for their pure stats, they look okay, but nothing great. Kind of similar to the Equites Promoti in that they have high melee attack, but they'll never last long enough for that melee attack to really shine. They have 90. Do they have the 15 bonus for his cavalry javelins? Yeah, they have 15 bonuses, so it's lower than the Equites Promoti. Equites Promoti have the 30 bonus versus cavalry javelins, precursor javelins, I mean. Besides that, pretty lackluster unit. For 500 talents, I wouldn't bring them. Ooh, some of my Foderati horse archers are dying by the CPU onagers. Anyways, Equites promote you here. Let's see. Slightly higher health and higher melee attack and slightly higher armor. So I would always bring the Equites promote. You're paying like 125 talents extra, but it's well worth it. Next we have the tags, good old tags, Tagmata. Seem to have gotten a bit of a health buff, I think. 250 health is pretty decent. They are medium melee cavalry, and they are on the higher end of the medium melee cavalry of 80 speed. They have discipline, which is always nice. Tagmata cavalry are a pretty decent, sturdy unit to bring. Now we come into, I think, one of the most interesting sections of the Roman expeditions army roster, the shock cavalry. We have the Cataphracti. The Cataphracti look very, very nice. 215 charge bonus is not great. These are the lowest tier shock cavalry that you can bring. They cost 525, I believe. But the melee attack of 40 is much better than Germanic Lancers or other units of that price. They have very high health as well. Pretty low armor, which is a concern if you're going to be faced up against enemy fire. But this high health really makes up for it. Just slightly lower than the Tagmata cavalry, and of course this is a shock cavalry too. So medium shock cavalry that kind of negates their impact damage a bit. But you know, when you have charge bonus of 215 and melee attack of 40, you don't really need to be worried about killing enemy units. They'll do a lot of that. So I think these units are very decent. Next up we have the Bucellarii, which are incredible units. They cost they cost exactly 700. 245 charge bonus is on the upper echelon of shock cavalry. They are very similar to the Clibanarii, which cost like 750, and Clibanarii are very nice. They have discipline, which is cool. They have 70 speed, even though they are melee cavalry, medium shock cavalry. I guess, yeah, you can see the difference. They have 10 less speed than the other medium shock cavalry. Low armor, very high health, 245. Charge bonus very high. Melee attack very nice at 35. And 2 bow volleys, just like the Cataphractii. Oh, sorry, the Clibanarii of the Eastern Roman Empire. Next, we have the Clibanarii of the Roman expedition. Exactly the same as the Clibanarii of the Eastern Roman Empire, except they don't have the bows, so they have 2 less archer volleys, but they have the scare trait, and that's it, and that's why you're paying 25 less for them. Otherwise, everything is the same. Very high charge bonus, slightly lower than the Bucellarii. Nice health, again lower than the Bucellarii again, right? Yeah, they have the Bucellarii have higher health, higher, like, let's see the base morale, 54. The Clibanarii costs more than them, have the same, no, they have lower morale. Both of them have discipline. I don't see why you would ever bring the Clibanarii. Or sorry, Clibanarii. Except that the Clibanarii have scare, which is a bullshit thing to have, really. Do they have higher armor than the Bucellarii? Let's see. Armor for 33. Yeah, that's, you're paying extra for the quite high bit of armor. But to be honest, that's a bit shitty. I mean, I'd definitely pick the Bucellarii over there. Next, we have the Hippotoxotai. Huge amounts of ammunition. They have the regular bow. 80 speed, medium bow cavalry, don't have Parthian shot, never bring them. Next we have the Foederati horse archers. These guys are an exact reskin of one of the Hunnic horse archers. I believe they're exactly called the Hunnic horse archers. Exactly same stats as them, but dropped into the Roman expedition because this creative assembly had 2 months to make a unit, so I guess they spent all that time just making a different unit card. 53 missile damage is very high. These guys have the second highest, I believe, bow damage. High ammunition, they have rapid advance, they have Parthian shot, they have scare, they have precision shot. All in all, you're spending a lot of money for a unit that seems to be pretty scary and pretty effective in what it does. But I can guarantee you'll be using this only against AI, because any half decent human player will just rush your army, and these guys won't have enough time to fire all their ammo. Still, they look like an interesting unit, but I would never bring them. Next, we have the Imperial Dromedarii. These guys they're the exact same as the Eastern and Western Roman Empires. Very nice unit now because Javelin Cavalry have Parthian shot. They have the scare horses as well. They have pretty low speed for a medium unit. Other medium Javelin units will have 80 speed. These guys have 73 since they have camels. They have the 20 bonus versus cavalry spears in melee. They have very high health of 250. They have shitty armor, but high missile damage and ammunition of 14 with precision shot makes them very decent against enemy cavalry. Alright, so that wraps it up for this. Excuse me. God damn. That wraps it up for this look at the units. Now, I just want to take a quick look at their cost and their cost effectiveness. Right, so we have Buchalari Guard Cavalry at 700. This is the only general choice. They are a very nice. They are not very nice. They're a decent unit, which is very tanky. So you have no choice but to bring them. Limitani and Scooter Toy Spears, shit units. No point in even looking at their price. 350, 450. You'll never spend that money. Antisignani 525. So let's see. I pop an Antisignani, maybe it's called, and then I drop like 3 chevrons on them. So that brings it what? That's 15 3s are 45. 45. We have 560, right? No, 570. 570 on these guys. These guys cost 570 talents now. They have 39 and 40 missile damage. Sorry, damage, attack and whatever. I just want to see these guys compared to the Bejeweled Nobles, who have the Bejeweled Nobles have gotten a nerf to their base damage, to their melee attack. I believe they had 33 before. But besides that, these guys have slightly higher armors, slightly higher health. They don't have unbreakable morale, but their base morale with the upgrades is very close to the base morale of the Bejeweled Nobles. All in all, I think the Antisignani could be a very nice unit, except that they have they have the defensive testudo. So I think dropping some upgrades on them and then bringing a main line of these guys could be a decent choice, maybe even with the Scooter Toy. Let's see, the Scooter Toy Axeman, 600 talents, very expensive. I don't know if I'd bring these guys. Maybe I'd just drop in a couple of Buchalari Guard Axemen. Although, seeing that the main strength of the Roman expedition comes from their shock cavalry, I'd most likely bring more cavalry than these guys. Maybe I'll bring just a couple of Scooter Toy and a couple of Antisignani, and just that's about it, and maybe bring like one Foederati. Next we have Sagittari, same armored Sagittari. They are exactly the same, right, as the yep, they're the exact same as the armored Sagittari of the Eastern Roman Empire. We saw no one bring armored Sagittari, and we won't see any one of them bringing them now. Elite Ballistari, again, flavor units, would never bring them. Funditores 130. I believe these, yeah, I guess they were always 130. Maybe they were 160 before. Levis Armature is still 275. There's Foederati Cavalry. I'll show you guys which. These guys are almost an exact carbon copy of the Scout Equites. Both of them are light in mass. The Foederati Cavalry have 2 extra melee damage. That's about it. They both have the 15 bonus versus cavalry spears. Oh, did the Equites from the Equites from OD got a cost reduction? That's cool. They deserve that. And the Equites Dalmati also have 2 less morale. But all in all, both of them are units I wouldn't ever bring. The Equites from OD, you can see the 50-50 missile damage with the 30 bonus versus cavalry and elephants. Pity that they only have 2 ammunition, but that's what you get for a unit that costs 600. They have a high melee attack, and we all know how good the Equites from OD are, or otherwise they are. This Tegmana Cavalry 725, whatever. Here, Shock Cavalry Cataphracti 575. I want to compare these guys to let's see, the Vandals, and go to the Germanic Lancers. 525. For 525, you are getting massive increase, a decent increase in charge bonus, getting a huge increase in melee attack. You're getting lowered melee defense, which doesn't really matter too much, and you're getting higher health and higher morale, and you're getting the ability to use wedge. But honestly, who uses that? So the Roman expedition, I can guarantee you that the Cataphracti are a very nice unit to bring. Buchalari, even more interesting. I'm going to compare these guys to the Sassanid Empire units. This Buchalari cost 725. Sorry, they cost 700. Not against the Swabians. I'm going to see them against the Sassanids. 725. Compare that to Griv Panvar. They have 10 bonus, 10 extra melee attack. They have lower armor, but they have incredibly high charge bonus, just like the Griv Panvar. They are lower in their impact damage because they are medium. But that's about it. They have higher morale. They have higher melee defense, and that's it. So the Griv Panvar are widely recognized to be some really cost-effective shock cavalry troops, and compare that with the relatively better melee infantry that the Roman expedition possesses, and you should be in for a good time, I think. Let's compare them to barbed lancers. Higher melee, higher charge bonus, higher melee defense. See, all in all, they look like a pretty decent unit. The Buchelarii with their high health. I really like the high health on these guys. Finally, let's compare them with the Elite Sarmatian Cataphracts. Higher charge bonus, lower armor, and basically the same health. So you can see these guys are tanky. They are good. They have high melee attack. I think they'll be a pretty decent unit to bring. Clibanarii. Same as the Clibanarii of these guys, except different unit card and don't have missile damage. Don't have the 2 archer volleys and don't have scare. Oh, sorry, and don't. Yeah, that's it. That's it. They just don't have the 2 archer volleys. That's it. Foederati horse archers. Let's see them against the Huns, who cost. Those guys cost 725, right? Or was it 750? So these guys cost 750. The Hunnic horse archers cost 775. So somehow we have a Roman unit that costs less than a Hunnic horse archer, but has the exact same stats as the Hunnic horse archer. Yeah, make of that what you will. All I can say is neither of these units are going to be brought in multiplayer too much, so I don't really expect there to be a huge outcry over this. Imperial Dromedarii, 925, very expensive, but I think they can be worth it in certain cases. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this look at the Roman expedition. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Peace.